And I'm live. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It may happen this video, we don't know, we'll see. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Best. I'll say what's up to her.
Hello, happy. It's a holiday. I can't quite. I think it's President's Day. But like the video, subscribe.
Like the video, subscribe. The link to her channel is right here, as well as my description box. And also, while you're subscribing to her, please subscribe to Shana's new channel, Shana underscore MCD TV. She has started a secondary channel and she's trying to get it monetized if it's not already monetized. But regardless of what status her new channel is in, we want you to go ahead and support nonetheless. So make sure you support her channel as well as subscribe to myself and Mrs. Best. Any reviews or recaps that I don't cover on my channel personally is because we cover on Mrs. Best's channel. We have Love and Hip Hop, both Miami and Atlanta on her channel, and also Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that are currently airing. So make sure you tune in for those videos if you want our opinions. So this is Real Housewives of Potomac Season 9 Reunion Part 1. I will say it was an okay reunion. I'm not going to say it was like explosive because I feel like nothing really happened, but it was good nonetheless. So, before we get into the actual specifics of the reunion, I wanted to ask Mrs. Best because if you guys remember, we did yesterday our best reunion look and our worst reunion look. Hey, DM Rocks, thank you so much for being here today. Oh yeah, Stacy definitely. I enjoyed her this reunion. I did. So we're gonna go back over our best dress and worst dress now that the reunion has aired, and we kind of have taken a look to see whose look now that it's in motion and camera. Hi, Dibbles on Demand. Thank you for being here, love. I miss you. Thank you for being here. So, Mrs. Best, your best dress was Wendy, and your worst dress was Ashley. Are you changing your mind to your best and worst dress now that you've seen the ladies live?
Um, my best dress has changed to just to Giselle.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like seeing Giselle up close. It definitely helped a lot. The reason I took it away from Wendy is because her wig line did not mesh with her foundation. And so I kept seeing every time I saw her side profile, the line of that wig, like it wanted to separate, and I couldn't get past it. So I'll give best dress to Giselle. Hair, makeup, jewelry, everything was right. You could tell she's going through something. Her daughters are helping her, and I'm glad. My worst dress, I'm still going to leave it as Ashley. I just cannot.
Okay, all right. So my best dress upon the pictures was Wendy as well. My best dress has changed just like Mrs. Best has changed. I'm actually going to give it to Kay. I'm actually going to give it to Kiana. Seeing her live, I actually loved the look a lot more. She looked a lot better on camera than she did on the actual photo. I think the hairstyle, it was so throwbackish that I loved it. I am a 90s kid. Mrs. Best is also a 90s kid. So to me, she was given that era and I loved it. So I thought that it was definitely um, a beautiful statement on her. And the choker, I actually did not mind when I saw it in the picture. Actually, it was very beautiful. So I am going to give it 2K. Now, my worst dress was Jazzy. Like Dimples on Demand said, I did not like her dress at all either. Jazzy being on stage for 30 seconds, like her whole time on the season.
She
DM,
really didn't need any time at this reunion.
she didn't.
Her
They just
dress was plain. It's the
her
dress that you see like your great aunt wear when she's on like her third marriage.
damn. It actually wasn't as bad when I looked at it. It wasn't as bad. I wish, as I told you, I wish she would have did something different with her hair. I think that was my only critique with her because I didn't hate the dress, but I didn't like it either. But I thought she was pretty. But I did not like her hair. I thought if she had a different hairstyle, the dress would have been better. It was like Aneka with her dress. I didn't like her hair either, and I felt like the hair needed to be a statement if you was gonna wear this type of dress. So I'm gonna take Jazzy off of my worst dress because I don't think she was worst dress. My worst dress was actually Mia. So when I actually looked at Mia and I actually looked at the dress itself wasn't bad. It was actually a cute dress. It was the feather gloves or the sleeves. It was like, Mia, take that away. You did not need that. And I thought I thought Mia's hair was actually a shortcut. And I thought it was like she did the finger wave kind of smoothed out. But no, she actually had her hair plaited and it was this messy ass bun in the back. And I was like, no, Mia, no. So Mia was an absolutely no. It was a no. So Mia gets worse dress. I thought Mia looked terrible. And guess best dress, I'm gonna give it to Kay because I did love her look. So there we go. You see how that changed, y'all? Mia misses, but she still kept her worst dress as Ashley. Ashley gets second runner up for me though, because Ashley did look terrible. But it was, yeah, her hair was just terrible. Mia's hair was terrible. I was like, Mia, come on now. Mia's face distracted me from looking at her dress or anything else. There's way too much going on. Damn, not her face. Had way too much going on. I love you, Dimples on demand. I do. I think Jazzy's not coming back next season. She will want not to. Honestly, after this first part of this reunion, I don't want her to come back because we can't get an honest response out of her. She's just like Mia. I see why these two are friends. She's just like her. So yeah. So Mia's crater face was, leave that woman and her craters alone. Y'all don't need to be talking about that. I'll be dang. I can't with y'all. So the reunion opens up with everyone getting there, and we look at Kay and Wendy. They're in their dressing room because everyone's kind of going around saying, I don't see a name for Karen. Is Karen not coming? And everyone's like, no, Karen's going to be here. So Kay and Wendy were talking because they're the closest to Karen, at least in this moment. They both feel this way. And so Wendy's like, well, let me just call her and see if she's coming. So Wendy calls her and it goes, Karen sends her the voicemail. And they're like, oh, wow. Like they were in complete shock of that. And I was like, one, it's like 6 in the morning. People still be asleep. So, I mean, I wouldn't have just wrote that completely off. Mrs. Best, would you have wrote that completely off if someone sent you the voicemail 6 in the morning?
Um, if it was anyone other than Karen, I would. But with Karen, she knows she was up.
Yeah, she could have. Yeah, yeah. So that everyone makes their way to the stage, and Andy introduces, and says hi to everybody, and he addresses Karen not being there, and he asked the ladies if did want to know what's going on with Karen, and everyone's like, no, we have not talked to her. A lot of them haven't talked to her since Christmas. I think Kay was the one who talked to her most recently out of the girls because she said she talked to her on New Year's Eve. So, you know, Andy lets it out the bat that Karen has decided to check herself into a facility center to help with, her situation. And all the ladies were like, that's very interesting, especially Wendy. Wendy clocked it like I did when I reported on it. Karen is, going into the treatment facility to try to lessen her sentence. Allegedly. We can't prove that, but allegedly. And I feel like anybody with common sense would think that. So I felt, that was pretty spot on. So Andy lets the ladies know that Karen did make a video and he has not seen it yet. So he'll be watching it for the first time like they all will. So they all watch Karen on the video. And Karen's, tells the ladies that, she is going into treatment to treat her taking antidepressants and mixing it with alcohol. And the lady's like, wow, like it's deeper than we thought. And she goes through her pleasantries. The first person she thanks was Giselle. She said that she appreciates the card and her flowers, and she appreciates her being a real friend, and to understand that they have been friends before the show even aired, like maybe 10 years before the show aired. So they have a long history. So Karen is, glad that she can, have a friend out of Giselle. She also thanks Kay for being there. She also thanks Jazzy for sending her, whatever Jazzy sent her. She even thanked Candace, who was not a current cast member on this season, but she thanks Candace. Now, the whole time Karen is going through her thank yous of certain people, the camera is panning on Wendy. And Wendy's face was like, I know she's about to thank me. I know she's about to thank me. So Karen said there's one more special person that she would love to thank. And the cameras pan on Wendy again. And then she goes, Andy Cohen. I wanted to thank you for all of your sweet messages. And Andy's looking at her like, wait, what? You thanking me? It gave like Andy's like, I didn't send you no damn cards or nothing. I didn't send you anything. What are you thanking me for? That's what it got from me. So, Mrs. Best, I want to ask you now. How did you feel about Karen's video, the lady's responses, and how did that touch you in any way?
None of it surprises me. If we go back to our little update video about Karen's DUI and all this extra stuff, I've known from the jump that Karen would be on some BS. Karen is not taking accountability. I agree with Dimples on demand. I do a lot of work in harm reduction daily with my job, and you got to admit you have any type of a problem to go to rehab. So she kind of messed up saying on camera that the reason she's going is to address taking antidepressants with alcohol. That's not the problem. Like Dimples on Demand said, she doesn't think she has a drinking problem. The problem is when you get prescribed antidepressants, they tell you not to drink with it. They tell you at the time you're prescribed. They tell you again when you pick it up at your pharmacy. And they tell you if you look on the doggone pill bottle not to drink with the medication. So you still choose to go and drink with the medication, which means you are prioritizing Karen being lit and drunk over not feeling depressed, which is wild, which is absolutely insane. And alcohol is also a depressant. So you're trying to have that work opposite of it. So it annoys the hell out of me how Karen's handling all of this, but at the same time, I am in no way surprised. And I don't think she wants to change just because her trying to be messy towards Wendy after watching this season, regardless of what she's got going on, we know she watched the show. So you watch this woman speak highly of you, defend you, and all of these things, and then you're going to try and slight her right all the way to prison. So I'm not surprised by any of it at all. This
Mhm.
lady
Ladies,
pissed me off.
I love Mel NYC reviews. I love this comic because, yeah, she is going to be shady all the way to prison. I am going to be reporting on her sentencing. I think it got delayed to March. So I am going to report on it when it does happen because I want to see what she got. I want to see if I'm right in my criminology. But shout out to Mel NYC Reviews. Please subscribe to this individual's channel as well. We want to make sure we spread love and support. Thank you so much for being here. I definitely appreciate you nonetheless. So moving on from there, we then go to Wendy, and as Mrs. Best said, addressing some of the comments that Wendy said, because everyone was like, I'm surprised, especially me. And she says, I'm surprised she didn't thank Wendy, you know, in that sentiment because Wendy wrote hard for Karen all season, and she did. That's one thing I have to give Wendy. She did write for Karen all season long, and probably gave Karen more opportunity of friendship than she did the other ladies. And I didn't think that that was I think that was a huge slap in the face to Wendy. I think it really was. And I appreciate Wendy taking the high road because when Andy asked how did that make her feel, her not thanking her when she did that. And Wendy said, well, I don't want to take away from her. Let's be very, very clear. I don't want to take away from what she's experiencing, her moment with any of the other ladies, because then that would be selfish. And that is absolutely true. That would be selfish of Wendy to do, but furthermore, Wendy says that she's just taking notes and she's just taking sidebar. And what replays in her mind all the time is the conversation that Stacy brought up, which was Karen saying that, Wendy is self-absorbed and Wendy's not a girl's girl. The things that Karen said about Wendy, Wendy can confidently say right here in this moment, that is not my friend. And I agree with Wendy. And others like, oh, Wendy, especially Kane. Kane was pissing me off with that shit. Because it was like, no, Wendy is absolutely right. If I'm writing for you and I'm doing all this for you on the show, making sure people don't talk about you, making sure people, especially not kicking you while you down and all that kind of stuff, the least you can do is show me some grace as your friend and not talk about me. But I think differently. Mrs. Best, how do you feel about that? Oh, thank you, Twitter.
Yeah,
Thank
as
you.
I stated, Karen is wrong. Wendy defended her, and yeah, I mean, we're gonna see Karen's true colors through her case.
Hmm. Absolutely. I 100% agree. And I just think that, you know what? That's going to backfire on Karen. If Karen decides to come back, that's going to backfire on her because you don't treat people like that. Like, I don't care what how you felt or what you may think. It is crazy. Karen is being shady. I'll read this one. We appreciate you being a new subscriber. Thank you. I gotta go check out your channel too as well. Wendy was well spoken. Absolutely, I 100% agree. Not to be shady because I love Candace the most, but since she thinks everyone who's ever been on the show matters, Karen paid Monique dust. You know what's funny is that I feel like it would have been crazy to bring up Monique's name, even though Giselle did in this episode. I feel like it would have been crazy for Karen to do that, considering Monique hasn't been on the show for what 5, 6 seasons now. So that would be really weird for her to bring up. I'm sure that they've had outside conversations and maybe she's thanked her, but it would be weird for her to include that in the video. Hi Naya, thank you for being here this morning or this afternoon, love. We appreciate you. I'm nervous for Kate because Karen isn't loyal to anyone. Hell, she's not even loyal to the Black Bill Gates. True that. I'm not nervous for Kay, and let me tell you why. Kay is a glutton for punishment. Kay reminds me of Heather Gay. She really does. And I can't wait till we get to her segment. I just cannot wait because I just know, based on the fact that Greg is there with her at this reunion, I just know she's finna disappoint me all the way. I just know she is. So that's why I feel like she's gonna be a glutton for punishment. So, yep,
Yeah, Kay makes bad decisions. She knows she's making bad decisions. She'll talk about it, she'll cry, she'll act like she had a revelation, and then she'll go right back to making those bad decisions.
absolutely. But in terms of that, we do talk about Karen and how the ladies perceive her when someone new comes into the group, and how she takes them under their wing. She tries to groom them to always be loyal and on her side a lot of the times, even if that comes to the expense of the other women on the show. And they've given examples. We had Ashley; she tried to do it with her. We saw with Stacy. Stacy said she took me to that restaurant. She took Giselle to episode 1 and was giving her the rundown. And Giselle said, Karen does this. Karen does this all the time. And Kay was like, I can't speak to that because Karen was with me when I had my lowest moment on the show when I was at a fight. Karen was at the hospital with me. So I can't really speak to that. And I get what Kay was saying. I do. I get what Kay was saying because that's a different type of loyalty. But at the same time, like Wendy said, you have to understand from our point of view as well. Just because things didn't happen with you in the same way doesn't mean that it's not actually happening. And I feel like that's what Wendy was saying. I'm not going to say word for word Wendy was saying, but that's what Wendy said. And you kind of have to take that as like, yeah, just because it doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it won't. It just ain't your turn yet. I like Kay, but I don't know why she wants to be on the show. She has a business, and her story, even though we've seen it time and time again, is interesting. Considering the type of person she was when we met her, considering who she is this season now that we're getting to know her. Isn't that interesting, y'all? How when you meet someone and your first impression of them is different as you get to know them, you realize they're not exactly who you thought they were in the beginning. And and that's what's so unfortunate. And that we'll talk when her turn comes. Trust me, we're gonna talk about it. When her turn comes, we're gonna talk about it. Karen treated Candace, Ashley, Mia, and Stacey the same way. Okay, Miss Lady. Karen has a pattern. She does. Absolutely, she does. It is weird to hear Giselle and Wendy speak off camera meetings to warn the new girls. Um, Wait, did I read that right? It's weird to hear Giselle and Wendy speaking about the off-camera meetings to warn the new girls. Oh, you're talking about in reference to when Karen. Oh, okay, I got you now. I was like, wait, I didn't know they did that, but okay, I totally got what you're saying now. Totally got what you're referring to now. So we then move on for Wendy. We learned that as she turned 40, she made a lot of life decisions. She quit being a professor. Well, not really, because she accepted another professor position at a different university to talk about reality TV. She has a reality TV course now. So She didn't really quit being a professor. She just doesn't do politics anymore. And so, they asked about Happy Eddie and do the ladies indulge in Happy Eddie? And we learned that Stacy loves the gummies. And I think she said that on Watch What Happens Live, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Giselle asked Wendy, how would you feel if she came out with her own version of Happy Eddie, calling it Happy Stacy? And so Wendy looked at Stacey like, "You kind of do that?" And Stacey goes, "I don't know what Giselle's talking about. I don't know what Giselle's saying." She says, so Giselle says, "So Stacey, you didn't have a meeting with a certain individual and told him that you were a celebrity and that you want to come out with your own line? You didn't do that, Stacey?" Stacey says, "Once again, Giselle, I have no idea what you're talking about." Notable deniability. So she said, "Okay, so since Stacey want to play these games with Wendy, I just want to let you know that don't be surprised when she come out with Happy Stacey next season. Just don't be surprised." And so Andy was like, "Well, Wendy, didn't you do that to Karen?" And I said, "Damn, Andy, this is how I know you don't watch the show. Because Karen did that to Wendy, not the opposite around." And I'm glad that Wendy clocked that and checked her. She goes, "No, Karen stole my idea. She just added 2 wicks to hers. That's what made it different." So I was like, "Oh, Lord, they was just coming. They were just slinging that mud." So for me, once again, I I enjoyed Wendy's storyline, but it just really felt like, the part they got when they got to the politics, and this is what I did not like. Because I felt like Wendy, I get what you're saying, but it just kind of makes me feel like I don't know if regret would be the word, but let me give y'all the story. So they talked about her moment in the White House and, her inviting Karen. Wendy said that she now regrets that decision to bring Karen in. And they were shocked. And even I was taken back by that because I'm like, okay, I get being your feelings, but don't have a regret for that because that just speaks to Karen's character, not yours. Like that shouldn't have been a moment. Like let society and social media eat her up. Mrs. Best, do you agree with that or do you feel differently?
Um, I don't quite understand your question.
Like when Wendy said that she regrets taking Karen to the White House after
Mhm.
making that decision. I felt, in my opinion, that I wouldn't have necessarily said that as a regret because at the end of the day, that just speaks to Karen's character, not so much yours. The fact that you really thought you had a friend in that lady to invite her to something so special for you. You weren't doing it just to say, "Oh, I feel sorry for Karen for all she's been through." You were just really being a genuine friend. And she says that she regrets that. Do you feel that that was a valid, like, feeling to feel to regret a decision? Do you think she went too far, or do you think she's valid?
No, it's definitely valid. No one can say that feeling regret is not something valid, one. And secondly,
Mhm.
if you consider someone to be a friend and then you find out later that they're talking about you, it does not matter what the context is. Anything you done for them, you may potentially regret. That's a normal, natural human feeling. But it could have also been regret for the fact that Karen was doubling down, standing on business, as the young people say, about being innocent with this DUI.
Mhm.
And then she brought her to the White House just for it to come out a couple months later that she was not just guilty, but hella guilty. I mean, she admitted guilt in her little DUI body cam footage. So I mean, in my opinion, there's several reasons for her to have regret. I think she should regret bringing anyone on this cast on the show because since Wendy's gotten here, yes, she does proclaim to have a lot of confidence and comes off as she's only about herself. But these ladies were clearly intimidated by her education to a certain extent when she came on this show. So I don't feel like she needs to invite many of them to a lot of the types of things that she's involved with. That's just
Mhm.
my personal opinion. And either way, it shows Karen's character with or without the regret.
And
But
that's what I said. Yeah. Go
Karen's
ahead.
been shown herself, and I think Scotty by Nature has said this. Kempire has said this. Some very big YouTubers have said this. I've said this for years. Karen doesn't give shit on this show. She is a confessional gangster, and occasionally she'll make a comment that she can get away with because she's much older than a lot of the ladies in this group, especially in recent times. So I don't feel like she gave enough on this show to even be considered as vital as she's been. She been showed us she ain't shit all the time.
I agree. I agree. And see, the thing about me is that for me, regret, I feel like that moment would have been teachable more so than a regret moment. Because I feel like to me, it's a teachable moment when in that moment, she didn't display any displacement of her not being a good friend to Wendy. So that's why I'd have been like, well, if you're living it by the moment, she still was being supportive and still was being your friend. So I feel like for me, that's why I said I wouldn't have looked at it as a regrettable situation. Now, what you find out after the fact, yeah, that would have been a teachable moment to say, you know what? Okay, you got me that time. You won't get me again. But I wouldn't necessarily regret that decision. But I understand what you're saying about what's come out on Karen after the fact of her doing that. In that instance, I would understand it like that. If she would have said that, I would have understood that. I'd have been like, yeah, I would regret that too, because look what came out and played out in the social media. But she was simply just speaking on the terms, on the premise of their friendship. So
Even
that's
with
why,
the friendship, you will have regret if somebody you consider a friend goes and dogs you, talks about you, and you invited them to something that's so big.
yeah,
That's
but she
human
didn't know that
nature.
at the time.
It doesn't
That's
matter. That's where the regret comes from. Because why would you have the regret prior to knowing? You
I get
wouldn't.
you.
That's where the regret comes from what Karen did, her actions. So it does make sense, even with the friendship.
No, I totally get. That's what I said. I get what you're saying. That's what I said. That moment for me would have been teachable more so than it would be something I regretted.
No,
But
Karen
yeah,
needs to get smacked. Fuck that. You do me dirty and talk about me, bitch. I'm not teaching you shit. You could go right where your wig, as Naya said, shifts into the sky. She's a shady old bat. That's exactly what she is.
I
Karen
don't,
know better.
Dimples on Demand. I don't think it's that she doesn't like Wendy. I think it's an envy thing, kind of like Toya and Quad. And I know a lot of people won't see this parallel, but I feel like Toya doesn't like Quad because she can kind of see that Quad is not failing without her man by her side. Quad is thriving. So I kind of feel like the same thing with Wendy. Wendy has the education and the success factor that Karen did not have. Like Karen's known for being a wife, and at one point in time working at Taco Bell. Karen didn't have all this
Why
entrepreneurial
you bring up the Taco Bell, Jack?
because that's what she said. She said it like it was some badge of honor. So I'm going to throw it back the exact same way. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like there's an envious part of Karen that is envious of Wendy, and she uses the fact that Wendy is self-absorbed, which we all can see that. She
Yes.
uses the things that are, that people would deem as negative against Wendy to use it to make it seem like so people shouldn't be friends with her because of these reasons. But I feel like Karen has like this admiration to Wendy, which is was shown on camera. That's why it was confusing to a lot of people. I think that that's where people are misinterpreting why Karen was such a friend to her, or why Karen was friendly, is because secretly she admires this woman for being
I
who
think
she is.
so. I
Yeah.
think so too.
hmm
Yeah.
That's what I really feel like. So yeah. Um the low key, who could Wendy have really brought to the White House?
That's what I've been saying. None of these ladies are to that caliber. They're just
Yeah,
not like
she
married to
already been in.
medicine. Married to medicine options. If you're a cast member, you got so many people you could bring. On certain housewife franchises, options. But then you look at Potomac and it's like, that'd be like bringing Portia to the White House.
No, she could have brought Jazzy, but Jazzy already been there. So I mean,
Yeah, but I don't think she wasn't like a main cast member.
sometimes people just don't mesh in anyhow in reality TV casts like this don't allow for that. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
true. I agree with that. Wendy is really that girl, honestly, even if she's annoying at times. She is.
They
Like
hate
Wendy
it.
is the epitome of like successful black woman making moves. Like I like her, Bo Saint John on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like those are the type of women who are now into entertainment, but that wasn't their claim to success. And I love that. I do. I love when they do that. Oh, Naya. She could have brought
Stop it, Bap. You
Bad
on
now.
time
Bad
out.
now. Wow, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you. There was a man. Thank you. For real.
Healing and thriving through the Oval Office.
hmm For
That's
the
what we
for Secret Service to toss her out. I would have loved to seen that. Hey, Shani, thank you for being here, love. We appreciate you. Yes, no, you're fine. We just got into the meat and potatoes of this. We ain't even served them yet. So, we move on from Wendy's little segment. We bring Jazzy out, and I was like, "We bringing Jazzy out already?" But okay, we got to get her up out the way. So I totally get it. So Jazzy had a question from Megan. I forgot where Megan was from, but I lived for her. But she said, "Jazzy, how does it feel for you to take that lady's man and parade him around on national TV while he got kids and stuff, and you being the side chick and all this?" And I was like, "Well, damn, Megan." And then she included Mia, and she goes, "And Mia, like you were a side chick, so could you relate to all this?" And I was like, "Whoever Megan is, that's my
Thank
girl.
you.
That's my
Thank you,
girl."
girl.
That's that's my girl. Whoever Megan, whoever you are, if y'all know Megan, please tell Megan to come and watch your mouth reviews. I need her on this channel because that was a read. I said, well, damn. So Jazzy sit up there and she said, well, to be fair, the mother of his children said they were not together when she was pregnant. So that I'm not a side chick. I'm not. I'm looking at her like, Jazzy, that is not what that lady said. That
If
is
that
not.
was the case, why are you paying so much attention to the side chick comment? Let me tell you, girls as basic as Jazzy. She basic, y'all. I'm sorry. Sue me. I don't care. I found my man. I'm happy. But girls as basic as Jazzy refuse to admit that even after your man and his pockets have assisted your lifestyle in being leveled up, you still ain't shit. You just you ain't nothing but a slice of cheese without the corners, Jazzy. That's how I feel about her personally.
A slice of cheese without the corners.
That's how I feel about her.
I have never heard that in my life.
Don't make me feel bad. My
And I
family,
have
we be
known you for almost 20 years, and I have not ever heard you ever say, I was not ready for that.
That's
But
a term from my father. Thank you,
you
Savior
really,
Charles. But that's what she reminds me of. I haven't really had to use it. Like you could tell that in Jazzy's mind, she's that girl and she wears this engagement to this man like a badge of honor.
you know what
But
it
then
is?
she can't answer no questions about her relationship.
Right. It's so
That
weird to me.
it's weird.
Is you know who she reminds me of? And you got to work with me on this one because I don't think you'll agree, but work with me. She reminds me of Kendra, Jock and Kendra. She reminds me of her, just not as obnoxious. And let me tell you why. Because I feel like young Jock and Kendra's relationship is superficial in Jock's eyes because I feel like Kendra was the girl he always wanted in high school, but she never would pay him any attention. And I feel that exact same way about oh boy with Jazzy. I feel like Jazzy was the girl he couldn't get in high school because she didn't think he was cute enough.
He
And
knew her in his career too. You probably right. Because I feel like the more he gets into the sports life, because he just signed to a new team,
mm-hmm,
especially one that's so far away from where they actually live.
yep.
Like, you don't have to admit to us was really good, Miss Jazzy, but just know that the same way you catch him is the same way you lose him. And most
Oh,
women who are confident and of sound mind do not want nothing to do with no Negro who got a baby on the way and another baby that's little. Absolutely not. So even if she was not the side chick, we still gonna side eye you for the timeline of this relationship
well, I'm
that
not
you
gonna
can't
call her a
answer.
side chick because the boy wasn't married to the young lady, so I'm not gonna call her a side chick. However, I don't feel like she was playing a fair game, is what I'm going to say. I don't feel like you were playing a fair game when it came to how you got that man. And I don't feel like you played a fair game of how you kept that man because it wasn't like y'all were in a relationship when y'all first started talking, according to you. Y'all were just friends and then the relationship happened much later.
Mm.
I feel like it's bullshit, but we just gonna believe her story. I just feel like it just wasn't a fair, you weren't being fair. You weren't allowing him to end whatever communication or whatever situation he had with that other young lady before you got to him. That's all I'm gonna say. And we've already, Mrs. Best already read Jazzy for Filth on that
I did
episode.
not read
You,
her for. Did I?
yes,
What?
Don't make me go
Oh,
and find that my video. Y'all go back to, I don't remember what episode it was, when it was the episode before Jazzy left the show. Mrs. Best went in on her because she was coming after the YouTubers. She was coming after the YouTubers that were reporting on that situation with her fiance and the baby mama, because there was pictures of them on Christmas, and it was just this past Christmas. So it was kind of like, what's going on? Me, you read her for absolute filth.
I
Really,
didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. She
yes,
make
you.
herself a easy target, probably. I don't know what I said, but I didn't mean it. I just call it as I see it. I can't stand that girl though. She really annoys me. I feel like there's a lot more to her that we could get to know that we just don't see, because you got to watch how you get with people, because now all anybody thinks about is her relationship and the shadiness behind it, the unanswered questions. But the bigger thing is, do not bring her back, Bravo, because she was on the stage for all of about 5 minutes without commercial.
I'm just saying. So we move on to the event that GNA had, and apparently GNA now is there for the nonprofit, not nonprofit, but like they basically sponsor organizations that try to find research and development. So it's no longer the apparel that it started out to be. And I don't know where the infusions are now today's time, but it is now a structure to help nonprofit organizations find research and raises money. Ain't that sweet, y'all? Ain't that
Very
sweet?
good job to you, James, for saying that with a straight face. I don't think the community needs anything from Ashley and her forehead. Absolutely nothing. She might be a danger to nonprofits. I work for a nonprofit. We do hard work, but not enough pay. And we are well educated. However, if I went to the event, and there's always an agency doing something nice for a nonprofit, there's always an event, and Ashley got her black ass up on that stage and started healing and thriving and singing around, you might lose employees for nonprofits. I can't take these people seriously.
I can't either. I was like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. That was a cute way to say this really wasn't just something to have for the show, but now because people are talking about us, we now need to parlay it into something else. I got what y'all were putting down. It's all right. So they talk about, the ladies, because a viewer asked the ladies a question of why would y'all RSVP to one event that y'all RSVP first and then go to the second event that y'all RSVP second and go there first. And just like, come on, yeah, because I want to hear somebody answer that question. And Wendy said, I never said I was going to Giselle's event. I said I was going to Karen, and I told her that straight up, and Kay said the same thing. And so Mia, Jazzy, and Stacy were saying, look, we wanted to show up for both of you. So we showed up for Karen first, and we left her event immediately and went to yours. So we wanted to end the night with you guys. And Jazzy said, yeah, and y'all could have just put us out silently if y'all really didn't want us to be there, if that was really the situation. And Giselle was like, well, how are we supposed to put you out silently? They said, ask us to leave, but don't make no big old scene the way you did. And I was mad that they didn't bring up the fact that Ashley then went on the Sprinter van and then try to get them to donate after the fact that they threw them out. I'm mad that they never brought that up, because to me, I would have much rather hear that response than anything. And I wanted to see Jazzy and Ashley go out about her closing the Sprinter van on her. But you know what? Maybe they did, and it just didn't make the editing room for her. Who knows? Who knows? So, gangster and alcohol. That was funny when it first happened, but when they brought it back to the screen, I was like, oh, that's stupid. Um, well, she was harboring a touchy feely golem in her forehead, so Ashley is resource. Bath. Didn't I just tell you I was gonna put you on time about you keep doing? What does GNA gain? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't really care because, as I said, GNA is some bullshit anyway. So we already know, like, not to trust it. But if they actually raise money for communities and get research developments out of this whole brand thing, then I'm happy they're doing a graceful service. I'm just hoping that it's not tied to any tax write-offs or anything for them personally, because then that's when I'm gonna get mad and upset. But anywho, y'all, we're gonna move on. So then Andy asks us the questions because we're on Jazzy's relationship, where the other ladies are in their marriages. We know that Ashley is divorced in real time today. So congratulations to Ashley, because I know that was so long winded. But at this time, she said it's in the hands of the state of Virginia. And Stacy said that, her and her husband are still trying to iron out things, but they're still married. They're trying to move forward and proceed. And Mia said, yeah, same thing. My divorce is in the hands of the state of Virginia. And everybody looked at Mia and said, Mia, you full of shit, you lying. And we all know Mia is lying. We all know Mia is lying, but you know what? We just gonna let Mia have it. And it was Ashley who brought up the situation about what happened in Miami. And they were all like, yeah, talk about what happened in Miami. And I was like, what happened in Miami? So they bring up Mia's birthday because Mia turned 40. And which when they said Mia turned 40, I was like, Mia's only 40, y'all? Damn. I thought Mia was at least in her mid 40s. I didn't think Mia just turned 40. Mia's not that much older than me. Shit. Damn. Ooh, man. I had to take that in for a moment because y'all, I couldn't believe that
I
Mia.
don't think you're realizing because when housewives come, they just come at us. Sometimes we don't learn age until later. But for me and James, especially being millennials, I don't think we realize that we're now at that turning point where a lot of the housewives are going to be around our age. She said a smooth 47. She's 40. She's 40. And her timeline, if you look into her age with her story, that's the only thing that adds up is that being her age. And it would make sense with Wendy being the same age, Ashley not being too far behind, the same thing with Kay not being too far behind. But I don't think we realize these bitches is our age. We getting old.
I'm not saying it like in that gesture. Mia just doesn't look 40 to me. Like I thought she was much older, but
Craters cause things to look more
it's
age.
not,
They are typically associated with things that are old, you
it's
know?
not even the craters because I know somebody who's 25 for craters, but I'm just saying, like, for me, I just thought she was older than that, just off of just a general purpose standpoint. I didn't realize she was that young. So I'm like, okay. But they talk about Stacy and Jazzy. Mia had invited them both to Miami to celebrate her 40th birthday. And they were all excited. And so when Stacy got to Miami, she was calling me and Mia to answer the phone. And so she was texting me and she goes, hey, I can't wait to meet up with you. Happy birthday. So Stacy then goes to the place that Mia was having her dinner, and Mia was about an hour late. So Stacy left, and she had told the people, I'm gone. And so Mia was like, that didn't happen like that. I didn't do that. You weren't available. Mia was trying to lie her way out of it. And Stacey goes, no, Mia, you're a liar. I got the proof of my phone. You want to go there, Mia? We can go there, Mia. Okay, well, here you go. And so she hands the phone. Mia was going to take the phone. She goes, no, Andy, get your ass up and get this phone. And so Andy gets up and gets the phone and starts reading the text messages, and them ladies is hollering because everything that Mia was saying, Andy had a text message to debunk Stacy's point. And it was so funny because Mia was like, I just can't believe like it's not that big of a deal. And it was like, well, how would you like it if you went to Miami for somebody's birthday party and they just ignored you? Like Mia gets on my nerves at times because she's such a martyr. It's like, ugh, I can't deal with her at times. I can't. Let me see what y'all saying. I believe Stacy too. Like we know. I mean, Stacy. Don't think Stacy lied about was TJ. So that I mean that doesn't trump anything that Mia will lie about. Mia lies about 20 times in that one segment. I'm sure she sets a dishonesty record. Preach. With each injection, she ages in dog poop. Naya, you gonna be on timeout too. Y'all gonna be on time. Y'all gonna be on timeout now. I done told y'all. I can't be laughing like this. I gotta get to married to medicine. But they then pan they then pan out to a break. And so Mia goes into a room to Stacy's room. She talks to them and she goes, hey, I just want to know if we're good. Like, I really did not mean to do that. Like, I apologize to you girls. Like, I really was not trying to do that. And Stacy makes the point, like, I feel like you're not apologizing because you actually are sorry. I feel like you're apologizing to save your ass. And she goes, no, I love you guys, and I just can't. I would never do anything to hurt y'all, and I would not invite you guys to my party. Like, I wouldn't do this to y'all. And Stacey said, okay, Mia, like, look, I can't take that right now. I'm sorry. Just give me time. And she goes, okay, okay. And then Mia walks to her room. She goes, I just can't do this today. I can't do this, y'all. I can't do this today. Everyone's jumping on me. And I'm looking at this like, girl, if you don't cut that shit out.
This is the same girl who was playing
Like,
Mean Girl with Stacy earlier in the season when she first met her, saying she don't feel like she cool, she feel like she lame. You the same girl that was talking about her. And she got caught saying something online that I had seen about Jazzy, saying what makes her interesting is her connections and her dude, not her. So Mia be so full of it. That irked me. And I was glad that Stacy did not fall for the foolery. Cause Mia's full of it. We don't care about your tears. We just don't. And what are you going through that's any different from all these women? Ashley been going through a divorce since Harriet Tubman led our people through the Underground Railroad. Okay? And she been filming and holding herself accountable. Hell, I'll give her that. I'll give her that. Then you got Stacy also going through a divorce. She filming. And then here Mia is talking about her divorce is in the court's hand, but there's no record of her even filing for divorce. Now you crying because you tried to play mean girl shit. And then I got friends who are strippers who active in stripping, and I don't judge people for that. You good to me, I'm good to you. But they do be telling me about little things, and strippers do be messy. They do move funny. They do move like cliquish. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mia's still moving like that. Especially how defensive she gets over Jacqueline at times when they want the right to mistreat her. So I was not moved by any of it. Her hair stressed me out. Looked like it was up under a hairnet. I'm tired of Mia and her existence. And that's it. I'll be quiet now,
the
James. I'm
thing about
sorry.
it is that she does not have to do this. She does not have to do this. She does not have to go through all of this and deal with the weight of her own lives when she could just be honest. If you're 45, you're 45. If G really, cause if G really didn't do the things he said you did, if G really didn't do the things you said he didn't do them. It's really simple. Just say, I wanted another man because this one ain't working no more. We've been together all these years and I fell out of love. If Mia was just honest, like, this would not be bad. There's nothing wrong with falling out of love with somebody or never being in love and just marrying somebody for financial stability. If you're honest about it, that's what it is. Like, there's nothing wrong with being honest. And I want her to stop lying like this because for me, I would accept the truth and actually would be on her side because people marry people for different kind of reasons. Marriage in the beginning of times was a business arrangement. If you were a young lady, it was because your father sold you to a man because he wanted some chickens, a cow, and a couple of eggs. That's really what it was back then. So it would not surprise me if women marry for financial gain. There's plenty of women who do it. So I just don't get what y'all, Mia get on my nerves. She just does.
The
Let me see.
problem is, though, with Mia, she lied about things that are unforgivable, especially with women. You don't lie and put your kids in some BS. Lying on G is that's messed up too, because I don't truly believe that he's bipolar. I think he struggles with depression, but I don't think that man bipolar. But the fact that she's lied about her kids, is willing to put her kids on camera with this ink dude, and you could tell the kids are uncomfortable. Like, I don't think that there's any redemption for her, but we know that Bravo will keep her because I mean, she's someone they can gang up on and people won't feel sorry for her. Sorry, Mia.
Yeah, because nobody feels sorry for her at all. Not even in the slightest, which is sad. But at the end of the day, she did it to herself. But that was it, y'all. That was the episode. It was an okay first part of the reunion. I'm praying that we get to the TJ thing and then whatever happened between Kay and Mia that made the blogs about them getting into a physical altercation. I'm hoping that comes up. But yeah, let me see. Me be on bullshit. All these smoke and mirrors for check and relevance is wrong. Absolutely, absolutely, 100% agree with you. But that was it, y'all. I got to get to Married to Medicine. I'm late for that live. So if you guys want to go ahead and jump on over to Married to Medicine, we had an excellent episode. I was so entertained by it. So we hope to see you guys all there. It is a 3-parter. I'm sorry, Dimples on Demand. I hate to disappoint you, but it is a 3-part reunion, unfortunately. So we will be here for all 3 parts. So let's hope, they don't completely bore us. But that's what they're going to do. I'll see you guys on my next recap. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to me, I don't know what you're doing, but go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Show me some love. Please subscribe to Mrs. Best channel. Her information is in my description box. And we're gonna see you guys on the next recap. I know some of y'all are waiting for me. I'm coming, y'all. I promise. I'll be right here. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.